Be good. Be very good.
I do not think that this interview is going to be be good, be very good today. It's not going to be very good. It's the glass is half empty. That's just the way it is. That is what my author has said, and that is what we will talk about today. The glass is half empty. I don't know. I've always been the glass is just not full enough. I mean, that's just me. I'm like, can you pour some more in there? But Mr. Hawk is here today to talk about his book. Thank you so much for being here today. Your book, I have to say that this is amazing. Too early, too late. Now what? Yeah, now what? Mr. Hawk, thank you so much for joining us.
Good.
Okay, so you have to tell me, why did you write a book like this?
Let's go back to the half empty
Okay,
glass or half full.
all right.
Uh, Maybe towards 30 years ago, when the Berlin Wall came down
Mm-hmm.
and East Germany and West Germany were being combined, I took a group of men, investors from New Jersey, to meet with the mayor of Berlin and to talk about investing. And near the end of the conversation, they had a rather famous professor from a Berlin school give a presentation on climate change, environmental issues. And I listened. And then they asked me if I would please comment. I commented that, yes, that was a nice presentation if you think the glass is half full. Many people around me think it's half empty. In fact, I disagree with both. I think the glass is empty, covered with urine stains. And that was the end of the discussion with the mayor of Berlin.
I'm
But
sure.
the book has to do with my spending a couple of years in Vietnam, watching humans destroy the landscape,
Mm.
destroy each other, and destroy themselves. And so when I came back from that, it was tough to reconcile. But anyway, I worked on it. But
Yeah.
the important point for this David Hawkes story is that in 1975, I began a major project. This was while I was a student at the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania, and they would not let me do this project. It had to do with the environmental deterioration that business causes, and they felt that was too negative. I couldn't do that there. So I went to the Stockholm School of Economics to do it
Mm-hmm.
and founded what was called the Institute of International Business, which we attracted about $100 million and started quite a wonderful institute where the first project was on the issue of environmental deterioration and how business caused it.
Mm.
I advertised that I was going to do a major project. Based on the ad, 20 companies and 6 governments signed up for that project.
Okay.
One of the companies, which the audience will be interested in, happened to be Exxon. So I worked with the CEO of Exxon and chief scientists for 2 years. They're the ones that convinced me to change it from environmental deterioration to climate change, because they felt climate change was on its way and it was going to remove most life from Earth. Imagine that. So
Yeah.
we did the 2 year project, and then I did 3 volumes of reporting that came out of it. Had trouble with many people at the end because they thought I was too pessimistic. And then in probably 81, people sort of forgot about the report. Then they forgot about much of what I was doing. But in fact, in 79, I had written a book where that book was written 40 years before the one you're talking about of Too Early, Too Late, Now What?
Okay.
Okay? And so what we're talking about was research done 40 years ago where one of the important companies was Exxon. Now, the 20 companies were picked because they all had different facilities in different nations. So we could evaluate how they were regulated in each nation. It's quite a study.
That
Okay,
is quite a
your
study.
turn.
My turn. I don't know if I want to go off after that one. Yeah, Exxon. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, okay. So, what about these regulations? What about the climate change and all of that? You're saying that they knew about this back in the
Sure.
day?
But also, I discovered that regulation was part of the problem.
Mm,
That in fact, legal order was the basis for people doing bad. Because once they knew precisely what they had to do, then they found ways to avoid it and ways not to have to do it. And so I invented an approach called negotiated order, which was to replace legal order. In other words, lawyers were a major problem in the climate change issue. I wanted to get rid of lawyers. I wanted to get rid of the regulation and have people see that, in essence, their children weren't going to be around if they kept on acting like they do. And
mm,
regulation had no impact on slowing them down. So it was a very controversial research project, but it came out with tremendous support by some of the governments. The Prime Minister of Sweden was very much behind it. The
mm.
head of EPA in the US was furious about it. He collected all copies of my reports he could find, sent them back to me in Iowa, and said, "Dear Mr. Hawk, we have no further use of these reports, nor you, nor anything you propose to research." So
What?
you can imagine the anger.
What?
They were angry. I was making fun of EPA.
Mm-mm-mm.
In fact, I felt we needed something much stronger than regulation. We needed this thing called self regulation, not regulation from others.
Sorry. Self-regulation in
And
that
humans aren't capable
environment?
of it.
Yes.
Anyway,
Oh gosh.
it went on. So, uh, I'm not allowed to swear, right?
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
swear away. Go ahead.
40 years after my book came out, which was published by University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School, 40 years later, Princeton University Press decided to republish it because at the time the dean of Wharton was firmly against me. In fact, he said if I got a PhD for that work, he would resign. And nonetheless, the president of Penn loved the book. I gave a copy to the president of Princeton, who loved it also. So, in memory of that president, they were going to republish that work 40 years later. And so they asked for the manuscript and asked if it's okay and asked for a title. I gave them all of that. So I sent them a title. Too early, too late, now what?
Mm-hmm.
The editor at Princeton called me and said that I don't like the title, it's confusing. Please give us something clear, to the point. Get rid of the ambiguity. And so I sent back a new title. And the new title was called Humans Are Fucked. And he called me back and said, "This is the last time I will ever talk to you.
Oh,
As long as I live, I will never speak to you again."
oh goodness.
And then at luncheons and conferences, he bragged about having protected publications from people like me. So, because of that, another publisher contacted me and said, "David, let's publish that book, but let's use the ambiguous title, not the clear one. Humans aren't ready for it."
No.
So, Arthur House published it. It was fine. 2 years later, a woman contacted me, and you'll probably notice my bias is towards women and not with men. I believe men, vis a vis industrialization, started climate change. And our last best hope is to get women taking over leadership to soften it. But nonetheless, a woman from Utah contacted me and said, "David, it's time for clarity. Let's republish that with a clear title." So she republished it with the title, "Sorry, comma, humans are fucked." and a beautiful, beautiful title.
I
But the
love it.
trouble was, she didn't put my name on it. She put a nickname on because she said, "The beginning of my life, if my name was on that book." So anyway, it got published, and I won't go into it, but Amazon had tremendous trouble with that book. And initially, they put it in candles, and I sent. Well, initially it was in books, but a few days later they took it out, put it in candles. I wrote them a sweet letter, congratulations, that when people read that book, they'll want to burn it. They'll look for a candle, and my God, they will buy one of your candles, and you'll be happy. Anyway, the manager wrote back a note saying that that was a horrible note. I've moved it out of candles to T-shirts with dirty words. And so then I congratulated him again. He never responded, but it sold very well in
Oh
dirty,
my God.
dirty word T-shirts. So they fired him, and they came back and offered to republish it. Amazon did.
Oh wow.
So we spent 2 years republishing it without the sorry, and
Oh
went
my gosh.
on and on. And then I've published a total of 9 books on the subject, and one of them was "Sorry, Humans Are Fucked." Another was "Humans Are Fucked." They tend to be very popular. It won prizes in the Philippines and in Germany for best book at the book conferences. In the US, it did not. Are you interested? Why not?
I am. I'm very, very much so interested in why not.
In the US in 1783, I'm sorry, 1873, a law was passed written by a postal clerk who hated women, passionately hated women. And many members of Congress also hated women. So he put together a law on how to punish women. And the Comstock Act of 1873 was passed, where if a woman was caught swearing using the word fuck, she would go to jail for 2 years as a way of teaching her and others. If they happened to be talking about abortion at the same time, she would go to prison longer. And so the Comstock Act was a fantastic act to keep women in their place.
Mm.
And so, in essence, I use that as the rationale for why in the US we make a big deal of the word fuck, just like they do in France, because it was used 200 years ago during the revolution. It was a way for the king to control people. In all other countries, it's not a big deal, not an issue.
Yeah.
But in the
Yeah.
US, it is. Anyway, I wrote an article about this, which one of the Supreme Court justices happened to read, and he didn't know the Comstock Act before. And he checked on it and said, "This is marvelous. Thank God." And it was never repealed. So be careful what you say.
Oh my gosh.
In the US, we're in a world of hurt relative to how we deal with women, try to punish them, try to control them. And in essence, from my vantage point, I can't believe that some women actually marry men and put up with them for life. Anyway, that's a side issue. But much of my work has to do with how to put women back in charge. And I started a foundation in 2015 in Beijing, which I started the day that, what's his name? Trump. The day that T. Rump came down the escalator, I started a foundation called the Eternal Feminine, and it has a website of eternalfeminine.org. And that particular foundation was how to prepare women to take over leadership in the world.
My goodness.
And in 6 months, it attracted $650 million to fund the foundation in order to take young girls and train them and teach them and put them in the best universities worldwide. Anyway, 2018, the board decided it really should have a woman in charge, not a man. And the board was all women, of course. And so they had a meeting on changing leadership. I offered to go through a sex change if necessary. And after they got done laughing, they got rid of me.
Oh gosh.
Went ahead with, and then in 2021, the head of the government in China closed the foundation.
No.
He closed it with a speech that said that what we need in the future in China is more masculinity, not that feminine crap. So, anyway, that foundation's still out there. I'm going to restart it in the US and presently working on that, but it's a major step towards addressing climate change because the values of women are very important to try and clean up the mess, although it is sort of too late already.
I tell you what, though, Mr. Hawk, I want to thank you and I appreciate you for seeing that the woman is for the safety of all humans. I mean, think about it this way. We give birth to humans. Everyone that's ever been a human on this earth has been born through a woman with the love of the maternal instinct if a woman did have it. Um
Uh,
and
as a
it's
footnote to that,
Oh yeah,
uh,
please tell me what that is,
during the
Mr. Hawk.
last month, a magazine came out with about 10 million readers, which picked up my books and picked up the point you're just making. And
Oh wow.
this is the magazine that just appeared, and it goes into some detail on one of David Hawke's favorite distinctions. And I'll sort of close with that distinction, but it has to do with the difference between human beings being public and being pubic. And those that are public are ones that look out and up. Those that are pubic are ones that look down and in. Now, I won't accuse Trump of being that way, but he is. So, in essence, I make a distinction between the public and the pubic in terms of dealing with problems. And I think there's far too many pubic men running around trying to solve problems. And
Oh,
this
tell me about it.
magazine made a big issue. It gave 7 pages to me.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
It,
Well,
I
Mr.
liked
Hawk.
it.
Well, I think that's amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and put your information in the description so people can actually find this book because I know
Sure.
exactly what this book is on Amazon, and it does say it does not say sorry, but it does say too early, too late. Now what? And I want to thank you, Mr. Hawk, for being on the show. I appreciate it. Which would humans,
And the little girl
Mr.
giving the
Hawk,
finger.
your trip.
You know, the mayor of New York ordered this taken down when it was up in Times Square, the previous
Oh,
mayor. I won't
I'm
tell you the
sure.
story, but it became an important story in the newspapers
Mm.
based on his conversation with me. But this is the latest book that I wrote having to do with,
Yeah, put that
oh,
in front of you. Put it in
oh,
front of you.
sorry.
In front of you. In front of your face. There you go.
Okay. This is my latest book, and it's probably the best of the bunch.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely search for that as well as put the link for the other book up there as well. I want to thank you, Mr. Hawk, for being on the show. I hope and pray that the organization gets started up again because we really do need better leadership, one with more compassion and empathy and understanding.
To, to support you and support that, United Nations has asked if I could have this organization join them. So I may well start it up. And someone has already donated 35 million to it.
Well, you just do that. Definitely do that, and keep me in mind
Yep.
if anything does come up. I would love to be a part of it because I do believe I don't want to be a part of anybody's government, but I do want to support those who are actually doing something positive for the human race. So that would
Thank
be
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Hawk, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're gonna have that link in the description so it'll be easy for you guys to find it. Don't forget to dare to be different, but most of all, don't forget just be real. Just be real, guys. Until next time. Bye. Thank you for watching.